if you already are self-employed, or if you're considering going self-employed and one of your biggest worries or expenses is health insurance, I'm going to help you find out ways to make that a small worry and a small concern. What we're going to do is we're going to go over a few videos, see what people are saying, and I'm going to sprinkle in tips for you of how to save money on your health insurance. Let's get into it.
One of the reasons why a lot of people don't work for themselves is because they're afraid of not having health insurance, which I totally get. And the information I'm about to tell you comes from a place of privilege, and I recognize that, but not enough people understand this about insurance. And so I feel like it's my job as a self-employed person for more than 2 years to share this knowledge with you. Because I'm married and insurance companies consider my joint income pre-tax to price health insurance, the cheapest insurance I can qualify for is like $400 a month, and it doesn't get me absolutely anything.
And what she's talking about here is Obamacare Affordable Care Act plans, public marketplace. They're going to give you reduced rates based on your income. I'll touch on what those qualifications are too if she doesn't.
So here's what I do. I have short-term medical insurance. Short-term medical insurance is basically for disasters, things like freak accidents, whatever, the worst things that you can imagine, you will get coverage for, but it doesn't cover much else. I think I pay like $180 a month, but the price can range, again, depending on your marital status, your income. I think you could probably get it as low as like $90 a month.
So with short-term medical insurance, it is kind of catastrophic insurance. The thing is, short-term medical insurance is also limited benefit. So they have a cap on benefits. Depending on the plan you get, that cap can be as low as $100,000. It can go up to $2 million, maybe even more. But for someone like her, she's probably in her 20s. She makes too much money to get a reduced rate on the public market. She can consider the private market. Major carriers offer these medically underwritten plans. They don't care about your income. They just want low risk applicants based on their health. So low risk means, you haven't had like a heart attack or a major surgery recently. Certain prescriptions too. All right, let's keep going.
Even lower than that, I don't know. But that's what I do. And I plan on renewing the policy every 6 months until I eventually decide to get regular health insurance, because I know it's something I'll need eventually. So you might be wondering, okay, well, what do you do for appointments? Well, I'm actually on the way to an eye doctor appointment right now. And what I figured out, especially with eye and dental, they hate working with insurance companies, because remember, the doctor's offices have to get paid out by insurance. So they hate working with insurance companies. So there are a lot of all sorts of doctors, dermatologists. I do this with my dermatologist office. I do this with my general checkups and gyno. Any doctor you can imagine. There are ones out there that have cash prices.
This is a great tip. Okay, I agree with this, because supplementary coverage like dental and vision,
memberships,
you're actually going to get a better deal if you do cash pay. Now, the time you want good dental insurance is if you have any work that needs to be done, tooth extractions, caps, root canals. Their cash price is going to still be pretty high for those. You can get short-term dental insurance to cover those.
To their office. For example, my dentist's office, my dentist is amazing. He's become a good friend of ours, but his program is like $350 for the year, and you get 2 x-rays, 2 cleanings, and like 20% discount on all these other things. I have to have a wisdom tooth removed this year, and it's only going to cost me like $300 or something like that.
Okay, so what she's getting right now is not actually, I take that back. Whatever she's got going with this dentist is not that good of a deal. So you can get dental insurance with certain carriers like Allstate or United Healthcare, Delta Dental. They will cover you for like $30 a month, and they already cover your preventative care. And then you get between 50 to 80% off for other services, like her wisdom tooth extraction, which would cost her less than $300. And $30 a month, that's $360 a year, and she's paying $350. She's not getting a good deal.
With the medication. So that may sound like a lot of money, but when you factor in that the cheapest insurance that I qualify for is like $400 a month, and that doesn't, include having to pay co-pays and not covering all sorts of doctors and, medications, the value is really there. What takes time is figuring out what sort of doctors will do like this cash rate.
Okay, I'm going to make this really simple for someone in her spot. So you're a business owner, you're considering going 1099, or you just need your own insurance because your employer doesn't offer it or it's too expensive. Really simple, okay? Let's say this. You make too much money to get subsidies on public marketplace, okay? And because of, okay, on top of that, you're also pretty healthy. You barely see the doctor. You've never had a major health issue. You're just a healthy person. You make good money. Really simple solution: private health insurance. They're medically underwritten. They're going to give you massively reduced rates based on your low risk to the health carrier. The way they determine that is by your prescription history. Now, the carriers that offer good full coverage private insurance will be Blue Cross, Cigna, and United Healthcare. They all have different levels of criteria to qualify for their plans. The commonality with them all is they're all PPO networks. So PPO is the network that covers you nationwide. Okay, if you've got like a HMO, it just covers you in your county. EPO covers you in your state. PPO is nationwide. PPOs have the advantage to where you don't need a referral to see a specialist, and you don't need pre-auths for any procedures that they recommend you. Now, a lot of these plans, too, with these private insurances, they'll even get you like low deductibles. Some of them even have zero deductibles. They'll have their 80/20 co-insurance. They're going to have their max out-of-pockets, full coverage plans. The only caveat is not everyone will qualify for the best ones because you have to be healthy. They don't really want to take on people who have things like Crohn's disease because they have ultra expensive medications. That's a high risk. They're not going to cover a scheduled surgery for the first 12 months. So you don't want to hop on a private plan if you already have a scheduled surgery. Now, if you got to get on a private plan and it starts and then the next day they recommend you a surgery, that's not pre-existing anymore. They'll cover that. But essentially, these private insurance plans, they will save most people 20 to 30%. And she's talking about $400 a month for a catastrophic plan. Okay, these private insurance plans, if you can get them, they will literally cover your doctor's visits, and you'll have no copays with their best options. And with even their less good options, you're still gonna have a low copay, low deductible PPO network accepted everywhere. If you just want some quotes for this, you can go to my website. It's healthnerd.net, www.healthnerd.net. You'll get some quotes. No one's going to call you. You're not going to put any of your personal info. You'll get some education. I'm a health consultant. You can schedule with me if you'd like, do a comment or just schedule on the website. There is an option to do that, but you're not going to get a bunch of calls. You're going to get all the info you need in the quotes. All right, let's keep it going.
Doing some digging, doing your research, but for me, it's proven to be so worth it. I'm 32. I am extremely healthy. I don't really drink alcohol. I talk about that on my page a lot. I don't smoke. I exercise 6 to 7 days a week. Low impact. Obviously, I'm not out there doing CrossFit, getting injuries. But so I'm a healthy individual.
Now you're probably thinking, why doesn't she have private health insurance? Well, I'll tell you why. With public market, the insurance she's talking about that she found, it's public. You can find it. Anyone can find it. Private health insurance must be done through a consultant that's licensed with the carrier, licensed with every state. And it's a process to have access to these plans. And they can't advertise private insurance because they're exclusionary. What that means is with the public market, they accept anyone and everyone. You apply for it, you pay for it, you get it. With private insurance, you can apply for it and they can decline you for the coverage to get it in the first place. With that said, if you're approved for private health insurance, you have full coverage like anything else. But you can't find it online. You have to go through a consultant.
Well, I know eventually I'm going to have to get health insurance. As we age, we all develop problems. But for now, this is working really well for me. And it's an option for you too. I feel like not enough people know that they can do this. You just have to do your research. And it's a lot better than paying an insurance company that won't cover any of the doctors that you want to go to anyway.
Okay, I agree. The other benefit of getting your own insurance as a business owner, you get a tax write-off on your annual premium. So the way that works with public plans, you can only write it off if you're paying the full premium. That means you're not receiving a subsidy or a reduced rate based on your income. Okay. With private insurance, since they don't factor your income, the entire premium, you can write it off every time. All right. Let's see another video.
So it has recently come to my attention that there are 1099 jobs that offer salary, but because they're 1099 jobs, they don't offer health insurance benefits, which if this was common knowledge, I'm sorry for I would say 70% of the time that I've been in the workforce, I've been self-employed. So I didn't really know that this was even a thing, that you could be 1099 and then have a salary position. But as y'all know, I make a content mainly about health insurance and such as a health insurance agent. And I wanted to touch on this a little bit just because I'm a very big advocate for people, right? Like, if there's an incredible opportunity coming your way, the last thing that should be holding you back is the fact that you don't have health insurance benefits, right? So, again, if you are somebody who's being offered a contract role, right, where you're 1099, your salary, but again, because you're 1099, you don't get full benefits like you would with a W-2 job.
All right, just to cut what she's saying short, yeah, you don't get benefits as a 1099 contractor. You got to get your own insurance.
Then I would suggest reaching out to a licensed health insurance advisor, agent, what have you, benefit specialist that can go through all of your options with you and ultimately help you choose which would be right for you. Because trust me, there are a lot of options out there, and it just comes down to what's going to be the best fit for you and offer you the best coverage based off of what you're going to be using that health insurance for, right? And
All right,
no,
and
before
I
using
got to tell you guys this. So yes, you should reach out to a consultant. One thing is they need to be contracted with more than just the public market, because if they're just a ACA agent, they're not going to find you all your stuff. You want someone that's contracted with public and private. The other thing is you want to ask these people how they get paid. Most agents opt for something called advance payouts. So they get a sizable percentage payout for every policy they put in. The problem with that structure is it incentivizes them to sell you their most profitable plan, right? It might not even be the best one for you, but it incentivizes them to make as much money as possible, okay? If you work with me, I'm a little different. I'm structured to where I get paid a quarterly residual every 3 months. They give me a certain amount per policy, and it's much less than in advance. But what that does for me is it creates a long-term business and relationships. I'm only incentivized to sell people policies that are their best fit in terms of benefits and premium, so that they stay with me long-term. And because of that, I'm going to make more than most of these people ever will that take only advance, because I'm not doing it just for the money. I'm doing it to help people and build a large client base. Let's keep it going.
Anything, just because you're getting your own health insurance doesn't mean it needs to cost you an arm and a leg. Again, at the end of the day, that's why you work with somebody who has access to all of your options, because then they can show you, what your most affordable but also your best value plan is going to be.
And one of the ways you're going to know if they have access to all the options is, one, they're going to send you brochures. If they don't send you brochures, they're probably not. They probably don't have access to everything. And two, if they just talk about one plan, they probably don't have access to everything. I like to do a full consultation for my clients to make sure that I actually find them their best plan. Drug formularies, doctors in network, benefits, whatever you need covered. And then we narrow it down and we'll find you the best one. Cool. Anyway, if you want some quotes and just basic info, healthnerd.net. Like and subscribe. We'll have more fun later.